Disciplinary Forces parade for operation. Electoral Commission out to educate voters. And Cowboys in town for fun run.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining me for Saturday's news. A joint parade between members of the 3 disciplinary forces was conducted in Port Moresby to mark the launch of the election operation. The launch today signifies the commencement of the joint operations in the NCD and Central Divisional Command. At least 10 companies were part of the parade.
It was a short parade from the back of the Boroko police station to the front car park. The parade was led by members of the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary, followed by the Defence Force and Correctional Services. Once the parade took position, Deputy Police Commissioner in charge of operations, Jim Andrews, was invited by Head of the Command, Sylvester Calout, to review the parade. In his address speech, DCP Andrews encouraged members of the disciplinary forces to assist Electoral Commission in terms of security for the voters, the candidates, including those conducting the elections.
So you as the security officers on the ground will ensure that that does not happen. You will ensure that every individual citizen will have the right to cast his or her vote. And that's all.
Though the national election is conducted by the Electoral Commission, members of the 3 disciplinary forces have been engaged to ensure the elections are securely and safely conducted. These officers will be providing security during the polling and counting periods and in the remaining 2 weeks of campaign.
If there is any anomalies or any wrongdoings in the polling booths, you as the security operators will have to correct this very, very quickly.
NCD and Central is the last command to launch its natal operations. Similar operations were also launched in the other 6 divisional commands. Meanwhile, NCD and Central will have 1 day for polling on the 27th of June. An estimated 1 week is required for counting. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Over 30 personnel from the NCD Dog Unit were deployed to the Highlands region for the national elections operations. The squad, led by Officer in Charge Luth Nidung, travelled to Mount Hagen today. They will join the Highlands Mobile Squad members of the PNG Defence Force and Correctional Service in providing security for the 7 provinces in Highlands region. It will be the first time for most of the officers in the unit to take part in national elections. The security operation will last until declarations of elected members. Meanwhile, the Directorate's training of dogs for the 2018 APEC Summit remained suspended until after the election. A 18-day education awareness campaign for the limited preferential voting system was launched yesterday in Port Moresby. The awareness campaign aims to educate voters before polling day. NCD Election Manager Lawrence Hetinu says every choice by voters is critical in exercising democracy for a free and fair election.
The LPV Education Awareness Campaign began yesterday and will end a day before polling. NCD Election Manager Lawrence Hetinu says past elections have seen many mistakes in voting and hopes this awareness will help voters so their votes count.
We've seen that there are a lot of mistakes being committed, omissions of ballot paper preferences. Voters tend not to mark the ballot paper correctly, but sometimes they leave out 1 or 2 preferences.
Despite the introduction of the LPV system in the past election, only a handful of PNG's population know the system. Unlike 2012, the Electoral Commission has made changes in particulars for polling. Some changes include the increase of the ballot paper size.
2017 election ballot paper is quite different. It's good. It has been made a little bit bigger than the previous ones. It's easier to read and understand by those who have problem with eyesight. They can be able to read and see clearly the present ballot paper. And because of the certain features that have changed, the color codings and all these things, it is very important that we teach people and make aware.
Another critical alteration on polling day is the separation of polling booths for men and women. This is to avoid intimidation.
Because some time mi plus go line na kain all same, all pikinini man also go past na. Pusi mi pla all mama na all sambla all mama we only no naplo. I mean only got name. Longen also pusi mol go kam na all sa got chance lo vote. Na now we mi pla all mama yet all America da separate polling booth. Good plus thread.
The campaign awareness also allowed question and answer sessions with the audience. The head of NCD election also made it clear that the national identity card will not be used by voters to cast their votes.
These are the changes the Electoral Commission has made purposely to improve the quality of the election the Commission delivers to the people of this country.
The next LPV awareness campaign will focus on mock polling. Jack Lopave Jr., National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, Medang is planning to use cleared glass vehicles to transport election materials, including the ballot boxes during the polling and counting. Provincial Administrator Daniel Aloy says based on previous elections, dark-tinted vehicles create suspicions and uncertainties amongst the people. This approach is to ensure that the movement of ballot boxes and other election materials is done in a transparent manner. It also helps in safeguarding the integrity of the election process so that it is not compromised. A candidate contesting the North Wagi open seat in Jiwaka is concerned about the change of polling venues. Frank Goy told EMTV News 19 polling venues were relocated for Non-Dul and Barnes local level government. Goy claims there is collusion between the returning officer, the Jiwaka PPC and the sitting North Wagi MP.
There is growing concern for all candidates contesting the North Wagi seat. Intending candidate Frank Goy expressed his fear after 19 polling venues were changed. He says previous locations pose no threat or inconvenience for voters.
It's going to cause more problems in Jiwaka. The previous old polling stations are okay. There is no security threats whatsoever. So bringing the people together, about 12,000 people in that particular single barracks is going to cause chaos. Lots of issues.
28 candidates are contesting the North Wagi seat in these national elections. Goy says the change of polling venues will have an impact before polling.
There is no security risk up there. I want the Ombudsman Commissioner, Police Commissioner, and ACP Islands Eastern Command, Nemamondia, to take note of that. And we need the special unit to get into North Wagi and really check this the issue.
In a publication this week, Electoral Commissioner Patalis Gamato said that the change of polling venues is purposely for security reasons. Gamato stated that there are limited security resources for venues in North Wagi. Goy is also calling for the police hierarchy to look into the actions by Jiwaka PPC Joseph Tondop.
We asked the commissioner, police commissioner, and the ACP in the islands to really talk with the PPC, which PPC is siding with the former Defense Minister Dr. Pepe Pok and the RO for North Wagi to serve a particular interest of a candidate.
The 28 candidates contesting the seat are planning to take legal action against the returning officer and the Electoral Commission. Jack Lopave Jr., National EMTV News.
You're with National EMTV News. More local stories after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The CEO of the Fresh Produce Development Agency has described agriculture as a forgotten sector that holds the key in freeing people from poverty. Mark Warinu says there are important lessons that Papua New Guinea has learned from unsustainable investments, and those lessons have to be translated into agriculture development.
At the main market in Ley City, fruit and vegetables come from all over the highlands and Morobe. For many, it is a system taken for granted, but for those at the center of the vegetable supply chain, it's hard work with little support for ordinary farmers.
Western Highlands na Chuwaga Strait, mi border Mangi Strait.
Farmers have to battle high costs, bad road conditions and delays to bring in their produce to Ley and onwards to Port Moresby.
Sambla time route bagarap mi plus agam silip outside to bagarap loena mi plus silip 1 night or 2 night na boat mi plus silip outside na mi plus agam down lo Ley.
Amidst the challenges, there are agencies working with farmers. For over 20 years, the Fresh Produce Development Corporation has been working with farmers to ease that burden.
And also we are working very closely with the markets like Stop and Shop Group. They're particularly quite keen to sourcing local produce.
It's a mammoth task taken on by the FPDC team led by CEO Mark Warrinu.
Agriculture is the most important sector in the country. We have forgotten because of the fact that we have forgotten its importance for a long time.
FPDC has had a string of successes in the Eastern Highlands, Simbu and other provinces, but Warrinu says a lot can be done if political attitudes towards agriculture are adjusted. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Ley.
Police are warning those traveling the coast of Morobe by boat to be more careful when going out during bad weather. This follows a boat incident last week resulting in 1 dead and 1 missing. Boat operators and owners are being advised to take responsibility for the safety of their passengers whilst traveling.
For many coastal travelers in Morobe, the Vocal Point boat stop is where they start their journeys. Even with the bad weather, skippers are preparing their boats and passengers to travel. This daily activity goes on even with the risk that operators and passengers may face, caused by rough seas resulting in injury or death. Others who have traveled in such weather conditions have not been so lucky. Last week, a 40-horsepower outboard motor carrying medical supplies from Ley to Wasu capsized near Sialom. On board were 4 men, 2 were rescued, 1 was found dead and another missing. The survivors were taken to Finschhafen whilst the search for the 4th person continues. A lot of incidents on Morobe waters are caused by overloading, fuel shortage and bad weather. There at every rescue are the police who work closely with the district officers for such missions.
I always arrange my rural patrol unit in consultation with the districts.
With the heavy rains being experienced in Morobe, travelers are urged to take extra precaution.
So before they travel, they must assess the conditions or weather pattern.
The Provincial Disaster Office says awarenesses are being carried out, but people aren't listening. Lucy Kopana, National MTV News, Ley.
The Morobe Provincial Police Command will utilize more than 400 officers from the Defence Force and Correctional Service in the election. PPC Augustine Wampes says there are enough officers who will strengthen security at the polling booths. Officers will be deployed to the voting areas next week. Meanwhile, the general public and candidates in Morobe have also been urged by police to respect voter rights and conduct a free and fair election.
Preparation is underway. We are doing it good, no problem. I'm happy with our preparations. On Wednesday, we had our launching for the operations. The police personnel calling from all the districts, including the mobile squad from Goroga. They attended the parade, and we also been, the 40 defense personnel are to be part of us during the election deployment to run the election, and also 10 CS officers was given to us.
Building materials from the demolished Waigani Committal Court in Port Moresby will be used to construct national court facilities in Berena Station, Central Province. The proposed facilities will include a national courtroom and registry, judges' chambers and staff houses. This is an initiative of the Chief Justice Sir Salamo India to improve court facilities in the country.
The Chief Justice was in Berena Station to see the state of court facilities and provide support for improvements. The visit is an execution of Sir Salamo's vision to ensure village, district or national court decisions are delivered in a decent court building. Sir Salamo was received by chiefs of the Kariku district who presented him with gifts as a symbol of welcome. He was later escorted into the court grounds by traditional dancers and students from Berena Primary School. Inside the court grounds, Sir Salamo was given a general salute by members of Berena Police.
Police Station, Provincial Police Commander.
Before addressing the people in Berena, the Chief Justice reviewed the police parade led by Central Police Commander Laimo Asi.
Just coming here, I've seen what is required here. I think the first impression counts, and I think this place needs a major shake-up in terms of court facilities here.
This is the Berena District Courthouse that also hears national court matters during court circuits. It was built during the colonial administration, and because of lack of maintenance, the building has deteriorated over the years.
That building over there, I assume, is a court building. I think that'll have to come down. I'll have to bring my hammer or something here and demolish that and build a new one. Yeah. A lot of these court facilities, as you know, were built in the colonial times, and they're still there.
The Chief Justice explained that Papua New Guinea is governed by a constitution. Thus, it is important that members of the law and justice sector enforce laws under that constitution. For the courts, Sir Salamo emphasized that having proper court facilities is an important factor in delivering decisions on those who break the law. There are at least 3 national courts in Central Province, including Kwikila and Tapini, but Berena has become the first court facility to be visited by a Chief Justice of Papua New Guinean origin.
As the first Chief Justice of Papua New Guinea, and we are very, very happy that he has come to our district.
The building materials from the old Waigani Committal Court will be transported to Berena in the next 2 weeks, and construction is expected to start towards the end of this month. Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The Police Internal Affairs Unit says they will train troubled police officers on how to deal with the general public. The program came to light after a public outcry for the beating of a trainee doctor during his residency at the Port Moresby General Hospital. Internal Affairs Director Robert Ali says the police are working to stop acts of brutality. Bethany Herman with this report.
At the new headquarters, the Police Internal Affairs Unit plans to train troubled police officers about brutality. Infrastructure is being built in the Internal Affairs building to run courses for several weeks, teaching cops how to humanely deal with civilians. Police Internal Affairs Director Robert Ali says the police unit is doing its part to address the problem of police brutality.
We bring them into the training facility, and we train them to behave and act more appropriately when they're dealing with citizens at large. Put it this way, although we are in police uniforms, but we really look at the policeman as a citizen in police uniform, performing a totally different function. But that doesn't give us any right or whatsoever to try to put the law under our feet and we walk over it. No, we are also subject to the same law.
Director Ali showed EMTV the rooms being built to facilitate the program that was in the pipeline this year. The project only came to light yesterday after the beating of Dr. Newman Berry at Tokarara last week Wednesday. Police are allowed to use reasonable force, but Dr. Berry's injuries were severe.
Assessment of my right ear, which I still have some ringing sounds going on. I cannot hear well. Yep. My left ear is okay. My eyes, my right eye is, the swelling is subsiding now.
Police brutality is bad and it shouldn't happen to any human being. The Internal Affairs Unit says the objective of the project is to ensure acts like that against Dr. Newman Berry doesn't happen. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News.
Foreign businesses operating in the autonomous region of Bougainville are believed to be increasing. However, Clarence Hood, the acting managing director of the Investment Promotion Authority, told EMTV News that only 21 foreign businesses are registered. He has urged the autonomous Bougainville government to ensure foreign businesses comply with national laws to ensure revenue remains in the region. Fabian Hakalitz has more.
The influx of foreigners into the autonomous region of Bougainville has seen a boom in business activities, but the Investment Promotion Authority's record shows there are only 21 foreign companies registered.
As I said, our numbers are currently at 21. However, I strongly believe that it could be more than that number. We have people coming in, going everywhere, and because we can't be everywhere, we will depend heavily on the people on the ground. Not only government, but the general public to alert us when they see something suspicious or they see somebody different or somebody new coming into Bougainville or anywhere else.
The Investment Promotion Authority has an existing memorandum of understanding with the autonomous Bougainville government, given its autonomy arrangements on the drawdown of powers and functions from the national government.
Promotion Authority grants its approval on the advice from the Bougainville administration. When the Bougainville administration advises or informs the Investment Promotion Authority that they welcome a foreign investment into Bougainville, then we grant the foreign enterprise certificate.
Mr. Hood also provides an update of the companies and business entities operating in the autonomous region of Bougainville.
In terms of business groups, we have about 135. Business names, 4,400 companies, business names. These are trading names, and then associations in terms of non-government and non-profit groups. We have a total of about 95 here in Bougainville. These figures are straight off the Investment Promotion Authority registry in Port Moresby.
At the meantime, Bougainvillians have also raised a similar issue with the influx and growth of foreign businesses, with more questions on the revenues if it remains to sustain Bougainville's economic growth. In Boca, Fabian Hakalitz, National EMTV News.
Stories making headlines overseas when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas, Donald Trump has sensationally been branded a liar by the man he sacked as the head of the FBI. In an explosive testimony before a Senate committee being watched by millions of Americans, James Comey claims he was fired because he refused to abandon an investigation into the president's leaks to Russia.
It was described as the Senate Super Bowl.
I didn't want to miss this. It felt like history in the making.
I feel like it's almost living in the twilight zone.
The world watching on as James Comey testified for the first time since being fired.
Director Comey, you're now under oath.
The former FBI boss explained why he took detailed notes of all 9 contacts with the president.
I was honestly concerned that he might lie about the nature of our meeting, and so I thought it really important to document.
Those notes suggest President Trump asked James Comey to pledge his loyalty and to lift the cloud of the Russia probe.
I took it as a direction to get rid of this investigation.
Also, a direction to abandon an investigation into former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn.
I took it as this is what he wants me to do. Now, I didn't obey that, but that's the way I took it.
Today's public hearing here came a month to the day after James Comey was sacked. He claims the Trump administration then tried to defame him by suggesting the FBI was poorly led.
Those were lies, plain and simple. I was fired because of the Russia investigation.
The White House has seized on James Comey's concession that President Trump was never a target of that investigation. Also, an admission that he leaked the memos in response to a Trump tweet threatening to release recordings of the meetings.
I've seen the tweet about tapes. Lordy, I hope there are tapes.
No tweets today. The president ignored questions.
Mr. President, thanks. Do you think he told the truth?
Knowing there'll be plenty more questions to come.
Sentences handed to 2 Melbourne men and a teenager convicted of terrorism offences have been appealed by the Commonwealth. Federal prosecutors argue they were too lenient and didn't reflect the enormity of their crimes.
The 17-year-old charged with preparing to carry out a terrorist act around Mother's Day in 2015 was handed a minimum jail term of 5 years and 3 months. Prosecutor Sarah McNaughton QC today told a panel of 3 Court of Appeal judges that sentence failed to reflect the gravity of the crime. People within our community would have been killed or seriously injured. The objective was to kill. The boy had sourced steel pipes, screws, match heads ground up in a mortar and pestle, batteries, a household pressure cooker and Christmas lights to make a bomb. A longer prison sentence, she said, would act to deter others who would have swirling around in their minds the 72 virgins and the green bird of paradise said to be gifted to jihadi martyrs. All parties involved in today's proceeding agreed that if the case had been heard in a New South Wales court, the boy would have faced a much longer prison term than the one imposed here in Victoria. Prosecutors have also launched appeals against the sentences of 2 other men convicted of terror offences. 19-year-old Sevdet Besem was ordered to serve at least 7.5 years after police exposed his plot to behead a police officer on Anzac Day, also in 2015. And Hassan El Subsabi, who pleaded guilty to financing a foreign fighter, wiring the man $16,000 to fight in Syria. He was sentenced to a 2-year community corrections order for his crime. Decisions on the 3 appeals will be made at a date to be fixed.
Still in Australia, a young woman who followed in her father's footsteps to become an airline pilot is now flying alongside him for the first time. Captain David Lang and his co-pilot's daughter Sarah flew yesterday en route to Queensland along with 200 passengers.
Jetstar 440.
For this captain, the flight deck has been a home away from home for more than 40 years. Today, even more so than usual, as his first officer daughter took the controls beside him.
It's exciting it's something that's been building for a while, and to finally share the journey together would be great.
Growing up, Sarah dreamt of becoming a pilot like her dad, and while the Ansett collapse prompted a brief change of course into a business degree, it wasn't long before the 30-year-old was back chasing a career in the clouds.
I've loved every minute along the way. So many good, different experiences that I've had flying all around the country.
Now, just 6 months after landing a job with Jetstar, the aviator is well on her way to following in her father's footsteps. And it's not just a family affair in the cockpit. Wife and mum Pam and Grandpa Wal decided to toast the special occasion and come along for the ride.
Oh, it's just great because it has taken a long while and she's worked really hard to get where she's got.
Very proud. And a bit excited.
And this maiden flight is unlikely to be the last.
Tomorrow and the next day, and then a couple of days again next week.
It's a thrill.
Chukai Sports is next. We have updates on Chukai Fun Run, touch rugby and boxing, among others. Details after the break.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. Queensland and Cowboys greats Matt Scott and Brant Tate took time out today to meet fans in the nation's capital. Both players are in the country to take part in the annual Trukai Fun Run set to commence tomorrow morning. Shane Soraya with this report.
Cowboys legend and Trukai Fun Run ambassadors Brent Tate and Matt Scott gave fans a warm embrace with their presence in Port Moresby after flying into the country yesterday. Brent Tate, a regular visitor in the country, was joined by Queensland and Cowboys prop Matt Scott. Both players were treated with several questions from the crowd, in which they delightfully answered.
So, is it your first time here in PNG?
No, second time. I came and played for Australia against the national side in 2010, so that was great. We got away with a win, but a lot of sore heads, sore bodies the next day. Always tough playing the PNG side, and that was a great experience. We had a lot of fun up here.
And for the Maroons fans, this was their golden moment to ask of his return to the Queensland team.
Matt, how soon are you recovering from your injury, and when are you returning back to the Maroons?
Soon, hopefully, because they can't win without me. But, my knee's good, but I won't be back this year, so hopefully back in the Queensland Maroons side next year.
As usual, both players were set up to show off their passing skills that got the crowd into motion. Showing support were representatives and members of the PNG Olympic Committee, Butler Morris and Noel Joel of the SP Hunters. Brent and Matt will be part of the 2017 Trukai Fun Run event tomorrow in Port Moresby. Shane Soraya, National EMTV Sports.
The second day of the National Touch Championships in Port Moresby, and the competition is already heating up, with CTPA and a host of others making their presence felt. President of the PNG Touch Federation, Daddy Toka Jr., says the quality of competition is high. With the World Cup looming in a few years' time, Toka says the standard of competition will improve PNG's chances in international competition.
Yes, well, this is we're doing the last round robin games, and then we'll go into knockouts this afternoon. Port Moresby, yes, in the past it has performed really well, but listen, in saying that, there's some raw talent that's coming out from the other provinces, and that's why we're going to start. You know, in order for us to for the code to improve, we need to reach out and try and build as many pools as we can. And develop those players that are outside, because there's still a lot of talent out there, and if we're focusing on Port Moresby, it's just a very small pool. So I'm encouraging more touch associations from throughout the country to get involved.
Still in touch rugby, and Team Manus is among a host of newcomers in the National Touch Championships. The men's team from Lorengau are newcomers to the sport and are hoping that with their participation in the championships, the popularity of the code will improve in their province.
Known for sports such as hockey and football, Team Manus are making their debut on the national stage by participating in the 2017 championships for the first time. Captain Riley Kava says that the sport is not as popular on the island province, but that they have all the intention of doing as best as they can in Port Moresby.
It's like I think I got a man say I'll be to play soccer, so maybe get la tingtilo starting rugby 7 touch lo walking up la code in Chelo Manus. So I think in first floor squad now maybe travel out lo Manus lo can play lo Moresby lo la national championship.
3 losses and a forfeit have marked their first stint, but this is something that Manus will improve upon in the future.
For a start, maybe come in so want open men's law come down, then maybe go back in, but mas strong begin is la code rugby touch. Na maybe bring him in all open men's, open mix na all open women's law come down next national championships law. When they sent out by all him them, come down them.
Another NGI team hoping to make their mark, Rarot from Kokopo. And team manager Chris Tangot says after 3 years of participating and even winning the tournament once, that his side will do their best.
Competitions belum place, a normal competition, sagat normally before the competition, actual competition, and sagat small precision, sa austim Superforce, and sa selecting more boys to learn.
While the National Championships has featured teams primarily from within the country, A looming World Cup has opened the selection doors for PNG players overseas, and the PNG Maganis, whose players are based in Brisbane, Australia, are also hoping to make that cut.
Pretty much the World Cup. We want to be a part of the World Cup team, so we put a side together, bring them here, and hopefully give them a chance to actually be part of the PNG team in the next 2019 World Cup.
Captain Andrew Watego says it is good to bring the younger players and showcase their talent. The National Championships will resume Day 3 on Sunday. Jeremy Moggy, National TV Sports.
The Bougainville Amateur Boxing Association has created a strategy to address issues in the Code of Boxing to improve representation. Its president Victor Sehung says for years Bougainville has produced some of the best boxers for Papua New Guinea and still has many raw talents to be nurtured. Fabian Hakelitz reports from Buka.
One of the strategic plans is for the autonomous region of Bougainville to govern its boxing code. And two existing associations guaranteed this, and with the level of professional boxers produced over years.
We have got plans that eventually, after 2019, by Mibla must got own union Milo here, long governing boxing.
Raw talent remain in the club level and will be identified through this concept.
Where the talents come on top now, Mibla level as the governing body long boxing. Mibla exporting out. So main thing from Mibla lo Baba is Mibla masete mabut all clubs.
Meanwhile, Baba also plans to strengthen associations by helping to improve facilities and equipment. In Buka, Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV Sports.
More sporting action after the break. Stay with us.
True Kai Sports.
Welcome back to True Kai Sports. The annual Korean Ambassadors Cup was held today at the Caritas Technical School in Port Moresby. As part of the Korean Embassy's ongoing commitment to fostering its relationship with Papua New Guinea, the tournament featured 50 competitors.
Beginning with the pumsai or stance, the different competitors at today's event demonstrated their skill in the martial art of Taekwondo. Experienced fighters in Max Kastman and Colin Cockin were part of the 50 competitors at the event. Each one hoping to be selected for a 6-day trip to Korea in November, which is the prize on offer today. Some as young as 11 years old took part under the watchful eyes of PNG Taekwondo President John Cholai and Korean Ambassador to Papua New Guinea, His Excellency Kwak Bum Su.
We are going to recommend 2 winners, one each from the junior and senior groups to the organizing committee in Seoul, which will host the final competition in Seoul in upcoming November.
The annual Korean Ambassadors Cup is aimed at fostering the relationship between Papua New Guinea and the Korea Republic and promotes the cultural history of the sport of Taekwondo, which the ambassador believes can be used as a means to develop Papua New Guineans.
Contributed a lot to the development of Korean economy. I think these values are shared by 2 peoples of Papua New Guinea and Korea. Based upon these 2 important values, we can pursue and seek the co-prosperity and friendship of our 2 nations, Papua New Guinea and Korea.
President of the PNG Taekwondo Federation John Cholai says that with only 3 years left until the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, that events like this will be the stepping stone for future gold medal prospects for PNG.
So it's not an easy task, but what I'm saying is that the talent is here. And given the right coaching, the right training, a bit of mentoring and development, a bit of focus, we have got the ability, we've got the talent in this country. It's in abundance. We just have to identify them and we train them for all the weight divisions in Taekwondo when we go to the Tokyo Olympics.
Concluding the event, the sparring sessions or Kyorugi event, which saw competition really heat up. Winners were also presented with gold, silver and bronze medals. Jeremy Moggy, National TV Sports.
And in women's cricket, the second 40-over match of the Hebo Shield 2017 saw the Diamonds succumb by 77 runs in their match against Sharks. This loss on Thursday makes it their second loss following their unsuccessful match against the Piranhas on Tuesday.
It was a bumpy start for Pauke Siaka's team, the Diamonds, in the two matches this week against the Piranhas and the Sharks. Losing by 4 wickets on Tuesday and looking to better their performance, the ladies in purple set out to redeem themselves. The Sharks took the berth first. Being the first match of the competition, they came out all pumped for action. PNG Lawa Brenda Tau and Valo Laga made a strong opening partnership for the Blue Ladies. The Diamonds unfortunately failed to oust neither early enough. By the time they sent Tau and Laga off the crease, both have already secured 65 and 51 runs respectively. Diamonds for a moment gained advantage and another Sharks wicket fell thanks to Diamonds' Myri Tom. The ladies in blue eventually bagged 181 runs in their allotted 40. Maintaining momentum from the first inning, the Sharks mounted bowls that gave the Diamonds even more trouble. Diamonds' opening partnership replied with 46 runs, but from then on, it was a downhill chase. And in just the 22nd over, the Diamonds were all out with 104 runs. Dini Rose Raiko, National, EMTV Sports.
To international basketball, well, after 67 NBA Finals series, no team has ever fought back from a 3-0 deficit to win the title. This afternoon, LeBron James's Cavaliers was staring down the barrel of a Finals whitewash, trailing 3-0 to Golden State in the best-of-7 series. The outcome appeared certain, but they don't call LeBron James the king for nothing.
James is a man who doesn't mind chasing history, although this latest challenge is surely going to be his toughest.
Well, right now the Cavaliers can't think about anything past tonight.
Whether the Cavs can become the first team in NBA history to overturn a 3-0 series deficit remains to be seen. And while it's unlikely,
Smith's first shot of the night is a three.
There was no way King James and co were ever going to concede on their home court.
Kyrie Irving knocks down a three. Kevin Love is open. Puts it in.
The Cavs finding offense not seen in the first 3 games, stunning the Warriors in the opening quarter.
The Cavaliers have thrown a haymaker here in the first quarter. 46 points.
They'd wind up with 49, an NBA Finals record.
49 points, and they missed 8 free throws.
From there,
Top Smith from way outside. Bang!
the Cavs would set another record.
As the greatest scoring half in NBA Finals history.
An 86-point first half for the Cavs, clearly getting on Kevin Durant's nerves.
James and Durant jawing at each other at half court.
James, along with Kyrie Irving, getting the last laugh.
He's a scoring machine.
And a massive 137 to 116 win.
You know, it's one game, and it's gonna be even tougher in Game 5, but we look forward to the challenge.
1 down, 3 more to go. If there's anyone who can do it, surely it's this guy.
Chant going out.
And that ends Trukai Sports. Up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Looking at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow, in the southern region, cloudy and windy conditions in Port Moresby and Alotau, partly cloudy with windy conditions in Daru, partly cloudy with afternoon shower or two in Kerema, and partly cloudy in Popondetta. In the Momase region, Lay morning shower or two, then partly cloudy, Medang partly cloudy, in Wewak partly cloudy with light showers, and in Vanimo morning showers with possible thunderstorms, then cloudy. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau partly cloudy with afternoon shower or two, Kavieng cloudy with chance of some showers later, in Kokopo and Rabaul cloudy periods, in Kimbe partly cloudy and windy with a shower or two, and in Buka morning showers with possible thunderstorms. And in the Highlands region, morning fog clearing, then partly cloudy in all centres.
weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Now recapping our headlines again. Disciplinary Forces launch election operation. Electoral Commission begins LPV awareness, and Cowboys grades here for 2017 fun run. And that's the news, sports and weather for the 10th of June 2017. From all of us here at EMTV, pleasant viewing. Good night.